There we go. So, hello, my name is Vanessa Gaitlin, and I am a yoga teacher and a health coach. I recently turned 50 years old, and for the past year, a lot of strange things have been happening to me. And the very first thing that has happened was I had really bad insomnia and I could not sleep at all. Then the mood swings started to come into effect. And I really felt like things were changing for me down there. And I couldn't really explain what was happening. When I went to the doctor, what they offered me was a antidepressant pill that maybe I was depressed, maybe I was overthinking things, maybe it was just the stress of everyday life that possibly would be causing the insomnia, the mood swings, etc. But I just had this feeling like, yeah, I have a lot of stress, I have a lot of things going on. I'm married, I have an ex, I have a son, I have to share custody, school, homework, football practice, running my own business, doing work on the side. It is a full life, thinking about my mom who is getting older, taking care of the younger generation. Yes, life is full, but I had the feeling that I wasn't depressed. So I accepted to go to therapy, but I didn't accept to take an antidepressant. Then I continue to research my age, what's happening. I started talking with other friends, and they would tell me what has been going on with them. Similar stories, but no real resolution until I finally came across this menopause yoga, where the women spoke openly and freely about the changes that are happening in the body, what you might be feeling, what you might be sensing, and that there's another way to really approach the menopause. And her name is Petra Coveney, and so I've studied with her. I've also studied yoga previously to this, more the vinyasa flow, which is active and strength building. But now I really needed a different approach because I was not sleeping. And so I've added in yoga, I've added in mindfulness techniques. And the interesting part is that I found a gynecologist that said, hey, yes, it's logical. Look at your age. It just makes sense. You're starting to go through the menopause and these things will start to happen. So she offered me a herbal remedy to take every day, which kind of helps to soften the menopause symptoms. And at the same time, she gave me a lovely estrogen cream to rub down there, which helped a lot with things like dryness, itchiness, soreness, and starting to make me feel more like I used to feel. So this session is really about yoga and how it could benefit you. But I have also learned about nutritional remedies, herbal remedies, teas, also the medical side of it. I'm not a doctor, but I can explain the different hormone replacement therapies that are available, especially in Switzerland, just to empower you with information that then you can go talk to your doctor, find more information about it, and get some relief from maybe some of the symptoms that you're having. Because that's where I'm at. I was really frustrated for about a year of not getting an answer. And now I feel like through my own research, through really connecting with other women, finding out solutions, that we can really make a difference and really empower women to make a nice and soft transition through the menopause. So today, I want to offer you a fresh perspective on the menopause. I will do a short yoga practice so that you can see some of the techniques that we use. So different poses that we will do, as well as a bit of meditation and a bit of breathing to help calm and soothe the body. And then at the end, we'll do a bit of journaling. And so instead of thinking about yoga as, these crazy poses that you kind of go all different positions, it's really looking at it from a holistic perspective, the whole person. So let me take a breath. And let's talk about what's happening inside the body. So when I was told about the menopause, it was explained to me as your periods are going to stop, and then you go into this lovely space of not having your periods anymore. And while that's great, that's not the whole truth. That's really looking at a woman as if she's only responsible for reproductivity. Like that's her only job. Estrogen is there so that she can have a period and have a baby. But the truth of the matter is that estrogen is so important for the entire body. It's so important that that's why we're having all of these symptoms. So as you're headed towards the menopause, which there's different reasons why women make it there. One part is age, but sometimes people maybe didn't have a great nutrition growing up, or maybe they had an illness, or there's a possibility of hysterectomy. There's lots of reasons why a woman may reach menopause at a young age. But otherwise, typically in the US and the UK, it starts around the age of 45, where estrogen starts to decline in the body. And it happens slowly at first, and then all of a sudden you have a big drop. And that's where the symptoms come in. Things like hot flashes, or maybe brain fog, forgetfulness, insomnia, a creepy crawling feeling on your skin, electrical shocks, things happening down there, the dryness, the uncomfortable, not wanting to have sex, so low libido, possibly headaches, even to having palpitations in your heart. So you may be thinking you're having a heart attack because your heart is racing. And all that is that steady decline of estrogen. So when I talk about all of those different symptoms, it's not just about having a baby. It's actually your whole body needs estrogen. And as that estrogen is dropping, it's your ovaries that make the estrogen. Your body needs another way to make it, because it still needs estrogen to live. In every part of the body, in every cell, there's an estrogen receptor. So as the ovaries slow down, other parts of your body take over. And one important one are your adrenal glands. So that's the glands right on top of the kidneys. And then the other one that we often talk about as we get older is that, that little, the belly fat that comes around here. And you'll see a lot of women complaining about that, and you'll see it on the internet everywhere. Everyone's trying to get rid of that belly fat, the midriff. But the thing is that as we get older and start to make this transition, ovaries, less estrogen, and then more being created in the adrenals and being created in this belly fat. So we say things like, oh, how dumb is that my body is now going to get weight, around this middle part, and it doesn't make sense. Well, actually, it makes 100% sense that your body has created this layer of fat to help it start creating more estrogen. So thinking about the adrenal glands, if you don't know why they exist, they are glands, they create hormones, and they're mostly known for the stress hormones. So when you're in that kind of excited fight or flight mode and you're getting all stressed and you're ready to fight or run away or you're gonna freeze, your adrenals making those hormones. Now, if you're in that transition, you're making less and less estrogen, and the adrenals need to start making more estrogen. What happens when you're stressed? What does your body prioritize? Does it prioritize the stress hormones, or does it prioritize making estrogen? So if you're in a stress, your body doesn't know that maybe it's not life-threatening, and so it prioritizes the stress hormones. So if you're in that transition and you're super stressed and you're running and work, and like I described, I have a family and cooking and cleaning and estrogen's not being made, and then you're gonna have likely a lot more of those symptoms. So if there's one thing I can give you, is as you're going through this transition, whether you're perimenopause in the beginning, in the menopause, losing your period, or post-menopause, it's really important to rest and allow yourself to not be as stressed as normal. And that's how a part of this yoga program fits into it. It's about calming down, turning on that resting part of the nervous system, and really allowing space and time for the body to make its transition. So maybe that wasn't so exciting, or maybe not so positive, because I know we are in this productivity machine. We're being rated on how productive we are. We're almost not even really allowed to lay down without feeling guilty, or taking a day off of work feels really terrible. So yeah, let's think about this in a different way. So the fresh perspective about menopause is to think about our life in terms of the seasons. So if we start in the beginning with spring, we can liken this to our teenage years. So in the spring, teenage, planting seeds, learning things, not really having any experience, not knowing how we're going forward or what we're doing with our life. That is the spring of our lives. Then we come into summer, we become adults. This is our time of productivity and reproductivity, right? So we're there, we're working, we're building, we're producing, we're creating. It's full force into that creation and making stuff happen. Then we come into autumn. So autumn, we say, is the perimenopause. And so if you think about autumn, you have the trees, they're starting to change, the leaves are changing different colors. And in this moment, we notice that the tree is actually prioritizing. It knows that it costs itself too much energy to keep the green leaves out. It's getting colder, so there's less sunlight. And so it means it needs to prioritize and let things go that no longer serve it. And what's interesting about that is to think about the leaves falling from the tree. It's almost like a little bit of anxiety, when we're going through this change, we're really not sure what's happening. What's happening with my sex life? What's happening in my relationship? What's happening with my kids? What's happening with my parents? There's all this uncertainty as the leaves slowly drop down to the floor. We're not sure where they're going to fall. Then we come into winter. This, we say, is the menopause. So there is no longer a period. It's a quiet time. And if you think about a nice snowy day and the ground is covered with snow, the trees, you go outside and it's super quiet and soothing and calm. And so in the menopause, it's kind of like that. It's retreating back, giving yourself permission to be home. Nobody wants to go outside. It's about going in, getting warm, and slowing down. And I know that we think about the trees in winter as perhaps something that's dead, but the tree isn't dead at all. No, no, no. What the tree has done is brought all of its resources inside, and it's sending its sap, so the internal kind of blood of a tree, it's sending its sap down into the roots, and it's growing roots. So it's not growing above, it's growing below and making connections with other trees. And I find that fascinating to compare it to ourselves. We as women, to be in, huddling down, getting warm, and then growing our roots to get ready for what's to come. So now that we've gone through winter, let's think about post-menopause. And this is the exciting part. So post-menopause, you're finished with your period. You come into your second spring because you don't have that period anymore. You're not bleeding out every day. You're not losing lots of iron. All of your energy is staying within inside your body. And after you've gone through that transition, which was exhausting for your body, you come out refreshed and new. And what about all the new possibilities that you can have or create in your second spring? Maybe the kids are away. Maybe you're changing careers. Maybe you've started a new life or a new relationship, or there's a new project that you want to sink your teeth into. So it really becomes this moment of recreation, self-development, and opportunity, instead of thinking about this old haggard woman with a curved back. So think about that. Think about a fresh perspective, looking at the seasons and really considering that you're going through a change. It's going to take some time. It's a point where you can reflect on what's happening in your life, moving towards that second spring, which could be so great and fabulous. So with that said, I really want to get started with our practice, because that's where the fun part is for me. And for that, you're going to need a couple of things. So one is just an ordinary towel or blanket. And we're going to use that to put under our knees to make sure that we don't hurt our knees on the floor. Then if you have an eye bag to place over your eyes, that would be awesome. I don't have one here at home, so I'm just using a normal a wash towel. And so I will place that over my eyes in our final breathing. And if you have a few books with you, I'm going to use these. So instead of having a yoga block, I'm going to use these to help prop up. And so if you want to take a moment and gather those things, go do that. And I will meet you on the mat. So keeping all of your props and materials nearby. If you're ready, come onto the mat. Sitting down with your knees bent, making your feet as wide as the mat and your hands come behind you. And so before we get started, I just want to say that in yoga, there is no pain. If anything hurts or is pulling or shaking or doesn't feel right, please, please stop. You are the boss of your body. I can't know what's going on in there for you. I just know the key areas to watch out for are your knees, joints like your ankles, wrists, also the neck and spine and lower back. So please take care of those areas. And if you have any questions at the end, I would be happy to answer any of them. So with your feet wider than hip width distance, so touching the edges of the mat, just gently sway your knees from side to side. It's like a windshield wiper motion. And so as we do this, what it does is it brings circulation into our hip joints. It starts moving the knee joints around as well as the ankles. And it's releasing the lower back so that we can lay down on the floor. And so one of the many things that happens when we lose estrogen is that our joints become quite stiff. And so you want to make sure that you're really moving, bending, stretching, and getting into all those joints so you can keep them nice and simple. Slowly coming to lay down onto your back with the knees bent. If anything's happening in your lower back, just shift the hips from side to side. So now we check your position. Your feet, knees, and hips are in the same line. Check that your back feels okay. Arms are alongside the body. Palms facing up. Check that your head and neck feel okay. If there's pressure on the back of your head, definitely try bringing your chin a little bit more towards your chest, and that'll make your neck nice and long. Once you're here, place your hands on your lower belly, and if it's okay, close your eyes. And just for a moment, letting the breath go in and out of your nose as you slowly arrive on the mat. Breathing in and then breathing out. There's no place to go. And it's totally okay if your mind is wandering or thinking about the next thing. If that happens, just focus on my breath, on your breath, or listen to the sound of my voice. As you breathe in and out, have a look inside and see how you feel before we start the yoga practice. And the focus of our practice today is winter, creating that calm sense of being able to stay home, take the pressure off, let go of overwhelm. We're allowed to be quiet and be with ourselves. So with your hands on your lower belly, we'll do a breathing practice that calms the body. If at any time you feel dizzy, just stop and come to a normal and natural breath. So we start by breathing long into the belly and then into the space below the ribs and the chest. And then slowly exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. So inhaling belly, ribs, and chest, ribs, and belly. Inhaling belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. And now keep going at your own pace, making this wave-like motion in your body. Going belly, ribs, chest, and chest, ribs, and belly. Keep on breathing. Long inhales, long exhales. If that feels too confusing, just breathe slowly in and slowly out. There's no pressure. And keep going, finding your own rhythm, going as slow as you want to go, and staying connected to your breath. And then come to a normal and natural breath. Bring your hands alongside your body, palms facing down. And then gently pick up your right leg, bring the knee into your chest, and then stretch the leg, bend the knee, let the foot come down to the ground, and then slide the foot along the mat so that your leg is straight. And then pick up the left knee, bringing it close to you, stretch the leg up, bend the knee, left foot comes to the ground, and then slide it down. Now with an inhale, inhale the right foot and slide it on the mat. Bend the knee close to your chest, stretch your leg up, exhale. Inhale, bending the knee, and then exhale, sliding that foot along the floor. Other side, inhaling, slide the left foot up to you, bending the knee. Exhale, stretch the leg out. Inhale, bending the knee. And then exhale, sliding the foot on the floor. And now we keep going. Sliding the right foot on the floor, bending the knee, stretch the leg, bending again, foot on the floor, and slide. Remembering to keep your breath going, don't hold your breath. Left foot, slide, bend the knee, stretch the leg up, bend, foot to the floor, slide. Inhaling, right foot slides, bend the knee, stretch the leg up, bend the knee, foot to the floor, sliding it down. Inhaling, left leg, slide, stretch, bend, foot comes to the floor, slide the foot, and then stay here a moment. Gently shift your hips from side to side. And then come to stillness. And just take a moment to see how you feel. Doing a check-in. And then gently bending both knees, bringing them up to you. You can put your hands on the outside of your knees or in the throats of the knees, whatever feels better. And we'll make little circles with the knees. As you breathe in, the knees move away. As you breathe out, start doing the circle, coming close to you and around. So inhaling as the knee goes away, exhaling as it comes close. And these could be super tiny circles or a bit bigger if you want. But notice that it's massaging your lower back and the top points of your hip bones or the pelvic bones. It's massaging your sacrum, that very low part of your back. So bringing circulation and nourishment there. And then slowly go in the opposite direction, the other way. Breathing in as the legs move away. And then breathing out as the knees come into your chest. Super slowly, finding your own rhythm. And then coming to stillness somewhere in the middle. Let your feet drop to the floor, arms out to the side, and slowly shifting hips from side to side. Gently, with the knees bent, roll onto your left side. Make a pillow with your hands and just rest here on the left side. This is your yin side. So we have a yin and yang side, according to traditional Chinese medicine. So the yin side is our feminine. And since we are losing part of our feminine hormones, we like to lay on the left side to help bring more of that feminine aspect in. One more breath. And then using your hands, slowly coming up, taking your time. You don't want to rush. You're going to grab your blanket or your towel and place it under your knees. So I'm lucky I have a carpet, a mat, and then I'm putting the towel underneath there. And then I'm placing my hands. This is called tabletop position. If your wrists don't feel good, you can double fold the mat and put your hands here. So instead of having a 90-degree bend, it's a little bit less than that. I can take the pressure off. So with your hands a little bit further, more in front of your shoulders, connecting to your breath, slowly sit back down into child's pose. If you get a pain in your shoulders, which sometimes happens, you can just make your hands wider than the mat, and that should do it. If not, just bring them into where it feels comfortable. we're going to make a wave with our spine. So picking up our bum a bit, coming up, inhale, and then exhale, sitting into child's pose. Inhaling, coming up, and exhale, sitting back. Inhaling through the nose, and exhale through a slightly open mouth. And so this is going to be called ocean breath. So inhaling as you come up, and as you exhale, it sounds like a ah. Inhaling through the nose, and ah. And now you want to keep going with this motion. And this is like a moving meditation. You're standing there connected to your breath, and with every motion, you're using the breath to move you through. And this helps to slow and calm the mind. And that exhale, this helps to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is another way to say the rest and digest system. And then come to stillness. Take a moment to gather yourself and see how that felt inside your body. And then taking your time, walking your hands back and finding your way to standing. So as you come up to standing, adjust anything that needs to be adjusted. We're going to practice some balancing exercises. So as well as all of the other things, sometimes people get tinnitus or they get vertigo as this transition starts to happen. And so balance comes into question. And this is a way for us to practice balance. So with your hips, knees, and feet in the same line, really plant your feet into the ground, feel that connection. Coming on up, your belly draws in a little bit. Your butt is not sticking out and the pelvis is not sticking forward. It's somewhere in the middle. Long spine, roll your shoulders up, back and down, and turn your palms slightly forward. If you notice your chin is sticking out, gently bring it back in so that your neck is long in line with the spine. Connecting to your breath. Slow inhale for 3 to 5 seconds. And slow exhale for 3 to 5 seconds. This is mountain pose. This is where we find our strength. Symbolically thinking about a tall, strong, firm connection to the earth. Grounding with every breath in and every breath out. And as you stand here, just notice if you're perfectly still or if you're shifting a bit, maybe a little bit forward or to the side or back. I just want you to realize that balance isn't perfectly still. It isn't perfect. It's not stopped. Balance is always readjusting, recalibrating, and finding what works for us. One more breath. And then relax. Move in any way that feels good. Maybe you want to stretch your arms, move your hips from side to side, wiggle toes and fingers as we move on to the next balance pose. So I'm going to come to the wall to demonstrate if you have a wall near you, if that's helpful, especially if you're not feeling on balance today. So with my right hand on the wall, feet, knees, and hips in the same line. Long spine, shoulders up, back and down. And for now, I will keep the hands on the hip. Leaning a bit to the left, pick up your right foot, and we move into tree. So tree can either be just the foot resting on the floor, but the ankle is resting on the leg. You can place it on the ground. Or if you've been practicing for a while, you can place it here, but never on your knee because that would put a lot of pressure on the knee. So I'm going to keep my foot on the floor, hand on the hip. This is tree. If you would like to spread your limbs, you can reach your arms up, make an okay sign with your hands, and then hold yourself there. Looking at a spot that's not moving, and gently breathing in and gently breathing out. Remembering that the tree in winter is sending her roots deeper into the earth, seeking out connection and nourishment from other trees. Take one more breath. Let the arm go, let your leg go, and then gently move in any way that feels good. Maybe it did something in your hips. You can give them a rub as we do the other side. So finding your connection to the wall. Hips, knees, and feet are in the same line. Belly draws in a bit. Long spine, shoulders up, back and down. Hand on the hip. Looking at a spot that's not moving. Shifting weights onto your right side and then pick up your left foot. So with toes on the ground and heel on your leg or on your calf or higher up on your thigh, whatever feels good. It's not about doing a more difficult pose. It's about practicing balance. Slowly spreading your limb if that feels good, making the okay sign with your hands. That's called a mudra or an energy lock in yoga. And breathing, slow inhales and slow exhales. Noticing maybe one side was different than the other side, and that's also 100% okay. Totally normal. And what we're doing here from a menopause perspective, beyond practicing balance, is we're stacking our bones on top of bones. We're building strength, which helps to, so the strength helps because we lose muscle all the time as we get older, but also avoiding osteoporosis with our bones by stacking them one on top of the other. Let your arm come down, let the leg slide down, and then move in any way that feels good. Stretch, and then we're going to come down to the mat again for our final pose. So normally we would do an hour to an hour and 15 minutes of yoga, but this is just a taster. So my blanket or towel comes up here. I'm placing one book on my right side, one book on my left side, and grabbing my eye bag or the cloth to put over your eyes. So when you're sitting, once again, do windshield wiper motions to release the lower back as we come down to the floor. Slowly laying down on your back with your knees bent. And then taking your eye bag or the cloth, gently placing it over your eyes, which blocks out the light. And with the towel that's around your head, roll up the sides of the towel and bring it close to your head so that you make your head into like a little nest. So it's covering the top of your head, the sides, and the sides of your neck. It's a nice little nest for your head. Nice feeling of protection. And some of the yogis call that like a cocoon. And so now there's a book on the right side and a book on the left side. And I'm placing that in the palm of my hands so that my fingers can open up and my hand has weight in it so that I have a sense of grounding and feeling connected to the mat. So slowly close your eyes if that feels okay, if they're not closed already. Slowly breathing in and slowly breathing out. Your legs can be bent with the feet on the floor, or if it feels better, they can stretch out long, wider than hip width distance apart. Just check that your lower back feels okay. If your legs are stretched out, let the feet just flop out to the side. Don't hold them. Let them really relax. So wiggle the feet, let them relax. Shift hips from side to side. Tell them to relax. Ask your belly to relax. Spine relax. Shoulders. Let your arms relax. Let the weight of the books hold you to the floor. The cocoon around your head protect you. And the cloth or eye bag over your eyes to block out any information, light, senses, to give us a break from the overwhelm. And here we'll do 5 breaths with an ocean breath. So take a long inhale and sigh. Another long inhale and sigh. Inhale and sigh. Inhale, sigh. Normal and natural breath. Just lying here for a few more minutes. Nothing to do, nothing to see, but be there for yourself. And I'm going to read to you a poem. You can either listen to my words or let them wash over you. Walk Slowly by Dana Folds. It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still, and just like that, something in me settles, softens, and makes space. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't always a relay race. That waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, I catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going. That many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe, and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes, waking up the body. Inhale and yawn. Normally, we would stay 5 more minutes in this Shavasana pose. It's time for me to end the seminar. So you may stay in that lovely pose for 5 or 10 more minutes as you wish. Otherwise, I'll end the seminar and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you so much. My name is Vanessa, and I will be continuing much more of these webinars as well as workshops. And I have a retreat in January, which is a 4-day retreat where we will explore the spring, summer, winter, fall, and second spring. So I'd love to see you there. So take care, and now I'll stop the recording. Bye.